Hey guys, good morning and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. We got some beautiful ambiance music in the background. I am so excited for everything that's upcoming. I look forward to all of these new projects. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this episode. And this is going to kind of be like a side note, very quick episode. But I just want to let everybody know that it's so important, right? It's so important that you do not plan your life according to people. I had to learn this. This was something that I've learned it was a very hard thing for me to learn. I think for me, growing up, the way I grew up and all these things, I realized that I got to a space where I had like attachment issues. And when we talk about attachment issues, it was one of those things where I just realized for me, I would meet people. I'm like, man, this person's great. This person's going to be here forever. You know what I mean? Or this is how I want this to be. And I felt like what that does is it forces you to try to make things work and make people stay in your life in seasons when they shouldn't, and that really leads to a lot of sorrow and a lot of unhappiness. And so, this is something that I'm learning for myself. And I just wanted to share with everybody that, it's really important that you just plan your life for you. Plan your life for you. And you don't plan your life based on other people. I feel like, we're all individuals. And I think right now, it's a lot of sadness, a lot of sorrow in the world. You have a lot of people going around, telling women that they're going to be alone forever, telling men that they're going to be, schemed on or whatever. It's just ridiculous, honestly. And it's really saddening. But, at the end of the day, I think if you would really live your life, and create a life for you that's fulfilling, and it's not just necessarily materialism. It's really living out your gifts, your dreams, and your purpose, and figuring out what it is that you want to do with your life and making that happen for you. I think when it comes to people are like seasons. You guys, people are like seasons, man. If you haven't picked up Seasons, check out my book. It's on Amazon. Seasons by Jalen Leslie. People really come into your life for some seasons. And some people are here for longer seasons. Some are here for a very brief moment, like that friend you met at summer camp. You know what I mean? And you guys had the best time, And so it's just one of those things that I definitely just want to let people know, when it comes to your life, plan your life for you. Don't plan for other people and choose your happiness. Choose yourself. You know what I mean? If you're not happy, that matters. Life is very, very short, and we want to live long. And I think that life is long in a sense. But, at the end of the day, it's you really have to live your life for you. Live your life for you and choose you. And really let go of a lot of limitations and go after your dreams and do it big. You know what I mean? Do it big. Do it so big, as big as you could possibly dream. You know what I mean? And even still after that, dream bigger, because you just never know what could happen for you by just, walking the good faith walk and really going after your dreams and your goals, and don't listen to what other people tell you and, let go of those fears. You know what I mean? Because it's just not true. And I think anytime you do things inspired by fear and not by love and not by passion and not by light and not by truth, most importantly, it really just leads to sadness. It leads to sadness because, it's not really what you want, but you're so afraid, so you're in that space. You know what I mean? And I would just tell everybody, if you ever made a mistake that was life altering, it's never too late, to rewrite the story. And you got to learn to forgive yourself. You got to learn to forgive yourself, and you have to learn to grow in the sense of your experiences. And I just think, for me, I made many mistakes. I've done things that I'm not necessarily proud of, but I was learning. You know what I mean? I had to learn certain lessons. And so I think for me, what it looked like was no longer shaming myself. I think that right there is that's love. You know what I mean? Give yourself some love in regards to that, because you just didn't know what you didn't know. You know what I mean? And when you finally get the lesson, okay, cool, keep it pushing. I'm not really one to sit and dwell. I think in my younger years, I would really sit in these spaces and I would just dwell on all the mistakes that I made. And I would just beat myself up and I would be so mean and so unkind to myself. And this is beautiful because, it's definitely through relationships that it was brought forward to me that I started to see dang, why am I so mean? Why am I so mean to myself? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just learned, you just learn. And it's beautiful because sometimes I feel like some people come into your life. We talk about relationships being learning things. Some people come into your life just to show you those things. You know what I mean? And then that's it. And then the season is over. But don't ever stay in situations of misery. Don't ever stay in a space where you're tolerated. Don't ever deal with anybody else, just because you care about them, and, they're in a space where they're healing. That's beautiful. Right? That's beautiful. And, you can encourage them and you can support them, but not at your own expense. Not at the expense of your happiness, not at the expense of your peace and your sanity. Some people, if they're in a space where they're dealing with their things, you can't rescue them. The only person who could save them is them and God. You know what I mean? So like I'm saying, like you gotta just know that and understand that everybody's not here for a lifetime, and that's why it's like when it comes to people, I think it's just the wisest thing that you can do is, be thankful when you have those experiences, but, be wise enough to know when the season is over, be wise enough to know when you're diminishing parts of yourself to hold on to something that is not supposed to be with you in the next season, and the seasons are forever changing, and it's so beautiful. And, just don't hold yourself to those mistakes, and don't hold yourself to the things that you've done and the person that you were, and I definitely think when it comes to relationships and when it comes to people as well, when it comes to holding on to people or being in seasons with people who, it was a season and you're still holding on, it really enables both of you guys, because I think what happens is sometimes we're growing, right? We're growing, we're changing, and we're no longer in this space. And you have people who continuously remind you of the space that you were in. And it's like, okay, now it's like a psychological thing because you're like, man, I know I'm no longer in this space, And so I just think that that's something that you really have to be mindful of. And I think sometimes, you may be doing something that, this person just is not here to assist with, or this person is, you know what I mean? Like, but, I think at the end of the day, you got to be responsible for you and your life, So like I said, just, moral of the story is, seasons change, and when it comes to people, I'm learning, don't plan your life and your goals and everything that you want to do in your life based upon people, and those seasons when you're alone and, you feeling whatever you're feeling, is beautiful because it's like you can decide who you want to be, right? If you are somebody who has a platform or you're striving for a platform or whatever it is, take those times where you're like the underdog and really cultivate a strong sense of self so that, when that light comes, because of course, if you're consistent, you're putting in the work, you got intentionality, you know what I mean? You know that this is needed. What you have to say is purposeful, is going to be brought forward to the light. You know what I mean? But the thing about the light is like, if you don't know who you are, I think that the light can be blinding. You know what I mean? I think it can be very scornful, because you don't know who you are. And so you got all these people telling you who you should be and what you should do. And, and the thing about it is, I don't think that everybody's bad necessarily. Like I said, even though I do believe that you have some people who don't necessarily have the right intentions. Of course, don't ever negate that. But, I don't think everybody's bad. I think that it's just a human being. Like, you know what I mean? And humans, we want the easiest way. If we could take the easy way, most people are going to take the easy way, right? That's why we go to McDonald's. We don't go home and set the food out and then have to cook it. If you're a vegetarian, you don't really take it alone. But if you're somebody who eats meat, you don't like going home and throwing out that chicken and, maybe getting some extra work done or whatever the case may be, and then prepping that meal. You want to go to McDonald's. You know what I mean? That's what you want to do. And so, I think that sometimes when it comes to humans, we want what we want. Right. And so with that being said, it's like, sometimes that's just people. You know what I mean? That's just people. And so, it's not to say that everybody's bad, but at the same time, it's like I think you just got to just know who you are and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, and I think it's just through experience. And so I feel like when it comes to your past, don't ever look at your past or decisions that you make today, decisions that you made yesterday and feel ashamed. Look at your life and be very thankful for the lessons that you learn and take the lessons and only the lessons. And I would definitely say, stop listening to anything that does not empower you, period. If you click on a podcast or if you listen to a certain show or whatever it is that you're tuning into, and at the end of that, you feeling triggered, you feeling sad, you're feeling, really regretful, shameful, guilty, all of those negative emotions, that's not your space. That's not the space that you need to be in. Maybe it was something that was helpful at one time, but you got to kind of learn when to go with the seasons. Okay. So I feel like when it comes to podcasts and things like that, like people, like this is just all goes back to people. It's so important that you recognize what is no longer, because some things can empower you at one point, but it's not empower you anymore. So you need to let it go. You know what I mean? Because you should always feel empowered. You should always feel confident, because you need that for your life and for your decision making and for your goal achieving. You know, you need those things. So it's just like, you know, don't let anything or anybody, you know, disempower you. You know what I mean? And it may not be intentional, but it may be. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you got to trust you, and you got to take care of yourself, and you have to choose yourself and your own happiness, because it's your life. You know, you're an individual. You got to make your own decisions, you know. And when it comes to people come and go. And I think you will have some people who are there for a lifetime, but maybe not, you know. But I think overall, the main focus is never people. You know, it's you. And I think I'm going to label this podcast "You versus the People." Right? Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, you know, I just hope everybody has a good day, and I really hope that this inspires somebody, because, you know, it was definitely something that I recognized within myself, and I feel good about it. You know, I feel good about it. I think before, like I said, I would get really down on myself. I'd be really hard on myself about lessons that I'm learning, but man, I don't know, just, you know, getting older, and, you know, as the seasons change, I just recognize that's just wasted energy. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be in a space where you're self-reflecting and you learn from it. You know what I mean? And you move forward, and you're wiser and you're better, you know? So, you know, hey, I don't know. Like I said, choose you, you know, because at the end of the day, when it comes to people change. You know, people could wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, I don't know. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be vulnerable and you shouldn't be yourself and you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Of course, with the right people, you know, it doesn't mean that you should not live your life. You know, of course, live your life. But at the end of the day, you just got to just understand that, you know, and when it comes to people, like, you can't plan your goals in your life around people. You know what I mean? Because you just don't know, right? You just don't know. And so, you know, I think if you would just live out your purpose and do what's fulfilling for you in your life as an individual, as a spirit that was sent here for a reason, then things would fall into place, and you could just have a better understanding of life's ebbs and flow, you know. So that's all I wanted to say, and I hope everybody has a great day and a great morning.